Welcome to Witches of Workshop, a writing community podcast. I'm Lauren.
I'm Caroline, and this is where we brew better stories together. So if you want to be critiqued on the podcast, just send 1 to 10 pages and a synopsis to witchesofworkshop@gmail.com. Without further ado, let's get started.
Where are we, co-host?
I think we're in Maine.
We're not going to say exactly where because y'all don't need to come steal our spot.
Because y'all be creepy.
Did we say what we're doing in Maine?
We did not.
Well, tell them.
We're here on our annual
Retreat. Writers retreat. We're here with 7 writers total, including us.
and like really good ones too. Like you've
Really
heard of
good.
some of them.
Yeah. The people like you would know if you knew anything at all. You need to scoop your sugar.
I'm going to put my sugar.
Scoop your sugar. I'll explain a little bit about the writing retreat. 3rd annual. We pick like a different destination every time, and we get together for a few days. We write as much as we can. We have little nighttime and lunchtime critiques around. This is going to be a lunchtime critique we're about to have. We do critiques around the table.
Peanut sauce, anyone?
We make a lot of reels.
Yeah.
We,
Content.
we do a lot of brainstorming.
Yeah.
And then we do a little bit of sightseeing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We always like a walk.
Yeah. That's basically the
somewhere.
only sightseeing we do.
And then,
And coffee.
and it's just gorgeous here, and it's chilly outside today. So
Yeah.
it's kind of the perfect writing
Writers
weather.
retreat. We get it. We get it, Stephen King, even though I don't think we'll have time to go to his house. This podcast might also be sponsored by geese.
Geese.
there-
Oh.
There'd be a lot of geese outside.
And look, I can hold this now.
Geese!
Yeah, they are loud witches.
They're
And
honking.
we imagine that it's like they're having their own drama, their own infighting.
We said secret lives of
Secret-
Boston wives, perhaps.
Secret
There's some
lives.
drama.
Because they get feisty.
It will just be silence and then for
And when they
minutes on
walk over
minutes.
here, they walk. So like you do not mess with these geese.
Don't mess with these. We've also been eating a lot of homemade sourdough. Shout out future guest Haley. This one's blueberry lemon.
And it is so good. There's vanilla in it, I think she said too.
Oh my
So
gosh,
that was
so
breakfast
good.
this morning.
So we eat a lot of carbs.
We do, but we also like have a lot of fruits and veggies. So we're just having a good time.
Good old time. We're gonna record with Dana Swift here in a moment.
We really are.
Young adult author. So smart.
Yeah, we love her, and she doesn't live in the DFW area anymore. Retreat is like our big time to get to hang out with her. So I'm so
Yep.
excited that we're gonna get to record
I
with
know.
her.
You're gonna get to know her.
We're having
In true
True dialect.
Lauren Danhoff, our first ever guest that we ever had. She's also here. Would you like to tell us what's been brewing? What's brewing? Come here. What do you got?
This is brewing coffee
Oh, she got your coffee
Yay, and hummus.
and hummus and almond creamer. What else?
Can you
could
tell them what you're writing right now?
I'm doing a revise and resubmit. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's revising so that she can resubmit that bad boy.
we call this an R&R.
Yeah, it took me a while to know what that was. I was
And-
like restoration and
I feel like
restore?
most people, well, maybe if you're a newbie, maybe you don't know what an R&R is. So an R&R can come from an agent and or an editor. And basically that means they read your stuff and they're like, it is almost there. And then they say it's not. So
no matter what happens, an R&R is, I would say, 99% of the time a good thing because your book's going to be better whether they take it or not. So
now,
Bye.
now
So
hopefully she
true.
takes her own advice. It's-
To be determined.
we shall see. We'll
We
let
shall
you know.
see.
We'll let you know.
Well, we're gonna eat some soup,
Yeah. And then,
have some critique,
and then we'll,
and then we'll welcome our guest of the day.
it's going to be exciting.
So get your bread and get that bread.
Let's get started.
Okay, we are now here with Dana Swift, ladies and gentlemen. So our guest, Dana Swift, she started making up fantasy worlds when she was just a kid, like Rocco and Felix's ages. Just a wee little thing. She's an author who has published 3 YA fantasies, including the Wickery duology Cast in Firelight and Bound by Firelight, and the massively anticipated When Dealing with Dragons, which comes out
June 30th.
That's so true.
Okay, she currently lives in Austin, Texas with her husband and her 2 freaking adorable dogs. Please welcome Dana Swift.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. Long time listener.
Long time listener, first time caller. Here she is. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're going to get into all of it because Dana is very knowledgeable and yeah, she's just so smart, just the best. Okay, but you've been writing for forever. Tell us about when you knew you were a storyteller. Also, like, what did your parents do anything to cultivate your storytelling abilities?
So I think the first time I realized like story matters was my dad would have like 10 go-to tales of childhood that he would just repeat all the time. And I remember Thanksgiving, I was like 6 years old, and he was summarizing one of them. And I was like, no, give me all the details. Like, I demand the full picture. And it was the first time I was like, oh, that's what story is. Like, it's the details, it's the voice, it's how he told it that no one else could tell it. And then growing up, my mom was very like, books are always a yes. So that's the biggest thing. And then when I was like 11, coming up with books, 12, like planning my first book, 14, writing the first book, like all that young. I kept it hidden, but mostly because like I had told parts of my family I was writing a book, and they were like, no, that's like being a rock star, which was what Lauren Danhoff said on the podcast too, of that kind of like, that's too celebrity, that's too crazy.
It's like unstable. It's not a viable money-making lifelong. Yeah.
It's not a real job.
Yeah. And my parents are all military, and military is very, you get in and there's a ladder and there's rules, and you just do the rules and you get promoted and everything's okay. And writing is like, I'm going into a black tunnel and I don't know if there's a side on the, like, I don't know if there's a light at the end, right?
And I think that for people who think that way, it is terrible. So to their credit, that's scary because you're like, no, I've only ever known you get in, you do well, you promote. You get in, you do well, you promote, and then you promote, and you have this kind of track. And so not having a track can be scary.
It's still scary.
It's always scary. You're always in that tunnel. Yeah. Every book is like, I don't know.
It's a new tunnel every time.
Yeah, it's new tunnel every time for sure.
But then you also, I mean, you were very young when you published your first book, like getting an agent. You were in your early 20s?
Oh, yes. Timeline. Wrote my first book, finished it before, like right at college, queried it through college, went to the first DFW con while I was a junior in college. The summer between junior and senior year. And then I couldn't make the next one because I had finals. I was like, God damn, April, like, that's my hell week.
Oh, no.
So I didn't go to that. That was the one I didn't go to.
Yeah.
And then I got my agent at 25, got my book deal at 25. Book came out when I was 27. Second book came out when I was 28. But now I've had a little gap, and I'll be 33 when my third book comes out. So
you've been at it a while.
Yeah.
But I also feel like, I don't know, like I feel like that's also, it's encouraging to people. Like there is not like a like learned knowledge. Like I wonder what you would tell yourself now, like your young self as you're doing this, like what the expectations were now. But like also like it can't, like the hard work can get you like if you starting that hard work young does get you places. But like, do you feel like there's a wisdom now that maybe you could tell maybe Dana?
Well, my dream was that like if time travel existed, that like an older self could just come back and be like, it does happen, these are the ages. Because like the unknown was the scariest part of like, I just want to tell my family that like, but I would, when I was a kid, like writing and querying and anything that bad would happen to me in high school or anything, I'd be like, it's okay because one day I will get my dream. Like one day I will publish a book.
So like, you're mean to me, or like, I didn't get a good grade, or I like didn't get into the college like, if anything bad, I was just like, that doesn't matter because the big dream is still coming.
Because delusion is the
Delu-
solution.
I mean, you have to be,
There is
you have to want this more than anything else, because as Alex once said, go do the other thing then, and use like writing as like a side hustle or something later in life, because to do it right out the gate is terrifying. And like, a lot of people are going to look at you like, oh, honey.
Oh,
Oh, do they ever?
I still get that from
I know.
That's sweet. Oh, that's sweet. Okay, so you talked a little bit about the conference, so I'm gonna work around a little bit. But so you met our dear friend, Katie Burnett, New York bestseller author. We know her at DFW Con. I want to know, because then we're gonna get into your workshop, because you conferenced before you workshop, right?
Yes.
So why do you think it is important for people to go to conferences? Because I think it is so important, but I want to know, as somebody who's like, that was kind of like this launch pad for like really true success for you. What do you think, like, what is the magic of a conference and why is it important?
So you want me to do that question before the tale of how I met Katie
Oh, I
Burnett?
think you should lead with how you met
The
Katie
tale of
at the
how I met
conference
Katie
and then
Burnett,
what that catapulted.
because Katie tells it differently, and I've let her lie.
Set the record
Okay.
Let the record straight. And you know why I think this happens is because our dear friend Brian Tracy found a picture of us at that first con, like talking around like a little cocktail table, and he's like, "This is when you guys first met." And I think Katie associates that picture and is like, "Yes, that was our first meeting." But
He rewrote the memory.
maybe, I think so, which happens. I had gone to a conference right before called Romantic Times, which was romance only. And it's one of those cons that it was in Dallas that year. Next year it was in Reno. Now it's absolved, like it doesn't even happen anymore. And so I had gone to that con completely alone, and I'd realized you have to like sit down and make friends, because then you're just wandering around alone. So the best thing for me was look for someone who's alone as well, and look for someone who's like maybe my age or, whatever. And I was like hunting. So in that first like auditorium thing, she was alone sitting there. And I was like, that's my first person that I'm going to see if they're like normal, see if like we connect. And so I sat down, she gave me her card. I knew she was in advertising, and we spent like the whole day together. And we went to a read and critique at DFW Con with Alex, Sally, and Russell Connor.
Woo! Coming in hot.
And I remember exactly, because I have a good memory. So I remembered exactly what you read. I remember everyone being like, "How are you not published?" And I was like, "How is this girl not published? She's getting all this great feedback." And I was like, I will become this girl's friend, if it's the last thing I'll ever do. And at the end of the con, we're like, we have to, like, you're in Dallas, like, you have to go to DFW workshop. And I was like, and I will come if I come to Dallas, and I had a whole nother year of schooling. And then as soon as I moved to Dallas right out of college, I was like, I walked in October of 2016, and I went every week. Like, I went every week. I went, like, that's how Alex and I became friends, because like we were some of the most consistent people ever. And he told me at some point that if you come to this for 2 years, it's like getting your MFA. And my mom, who's always like, "You should go get your MFA," I was like, I don't need to, because
I basically did.
and it really is. It really is. You learn how to critique. You learn how to write better. You learn the dedication of writing a chapter every week. You learn so much so quickly if you come like religiously.
Since the conference, catapulted you to going to workshop, why do you think a strong writing community was so effective in helping you and others get published? And then, as you famously did a few years later when you had to move out of state, you actually started your own writers group. So talk to us about how workshop was so important for you, and then why it was so important that you made your own when you moved out of state.
Yeah, so I think it's just, writers are like some of the most amazing people. So it's like, I haven't met that many writers who like aren't great people that I could become friends with. So it was an avenue for like a new city to make friends like that. And I knew Katie was already going because I had stalked her. She's gonna be like, Dana, I'm scared of you now.
I think you've gotten past now. You're fine.
She's follows it. Like she's my maid. She was my maid of honor. Like it's too late.
Sharing a room.
Paid off, girl.
Sharing a room at the retreat, I
Yeah.
think y'all became
But, I
actual
mean-
friends, obviously.
community. Like it's just, what can I say about it that you guys haven't already on the pod?
Okay, here's something I want you to say about it
Yeah,
because
okay,
I've
prompt me.
and I met you through workshop, so I don't know like how you were before, but like you're such a talented writer. You strike me as someone who probably came into workshop already a pretty strong writer. But what are some like just nuggets or things that you learned that helped you become a better writer aside from the community aspect? Like
So I did workshop things in college, and like a nice thing I've heard was like, oh, you have good voice. So that was the one compliment. So that was the one compliment that was like, wait, I could do this.
That was your that was your boost of like
Yeah.
that's because sometimes that's what you need, right? You need to be like, oh yes, okay, I'm not crazy for thinking I can do this. Like something is there.
and voice is a good compliment to get, I feel like.
Voice is like the most
because
important.
That's kind of like your unique stamp on your work.
Yes,
And it's like
yes.
if that comes through, you can figure out how to plot later.
Right.
I'm telling myself. I'll figure it out.
Yes, you shall.
Yeah. So I think for me, like I remember one of the big things was I tell people this all the time still, like I would do camera work that was like the point of view would be like I'm watching a movie. And so I'd be telling you about the scene, or I would just be like, and this is happening, and this is happening, and like it, and Alex and other people have always said like it's a first person camera, like the eyes have to be shifting as you're going. And I still talk to like, where's your camera? Because right now, like even if it's in third person, it isn't always here. If it's third limited, it's still here. It's just using different pronouns. So stuff like that for sure. Sometimes, at workshop you get compliments of like, "Ugh, I'm so good at dialogue, but I see that you really care about setting." And I'm like, me? I don't care about setting. So like sometimes you get things like weird compliments or like things you're like, okay, I guess I'm setting I've done enough of in this chapter. But I write fantasy. So as you know, it's really hard when you're like, okay, so this scene is 200 pages in and there's a whole magic system and an ensemble cast. And like, so I'd get a lot of like, I'm confused. And I think that really led me to be like, I'm going to write the most accessible thing ever. And now it's like one of my like things I stamp on my brand of like, I write for young adults and I want to be accessible. I want it to be like, I've had readers, especially like in Germany, be like, this is the first fantasy I've ever read. And I really liked it. And now I'm like going to get into the genre and I'm like, what? The first fantasy you've ever read? That blew my mind.
Okay, wait. So this was like partially motivated by experiencing people in workshop who are hearing a chapter in a vacuum being like, I don't get it. And you wanted them to be able to get it, even if they were just dropped
Yes.
in. That's very smart.
It is. It is. Leslie Lutz always used to say like, because to me, and maybe all of us, because we're nerds, okay, we read a book and we don't typically take months to read it, right? We read a book and we pile through it. Whereas a lot of readers have a book on their nightstand and they read it and they read a chapter and they put it down. And then a week later, they pick it back up and then they put it down. And so Leslie always wanted me to make sure she'd be like, especially when my fantasy manuscripts, yikes. But she'd be like, okay, if somebody hasn't read this in 2 weeks, would they have a clue what's going on right now? And I'd be like, nope. So it's not about dumbing it down. It's about understanding that reading isn't always a linear one sitting situation, which for us, it is a little bit. But for others, sometimes you have to have that, right? Like, I think that makes sense. And then when you're writing for children, when you have attention span issues, I mean, hell, adults have attention span issues, but kids, so I think that's
really good.
But yeah, like it's just things where it's like I was told at workshop, so I was like, how do I circumvent that, or how do I fix that for like readers? And so it became, my first book, the horrible problem with it was structure. So then I like devoted myself to structure, and not by reading structure books, by like just studying a normal book and seeing like how it goes. and now it's kind of innately in there.
Okay, so then that leads us directly into something that we've written. So something you are well known for is your ability to understand plot and drive a story forward. So, what tools or tips have helped you with plotting, and what are some of your favorite pieces of advice to give somebody who maybe struggles with plotting?
Yeah, it's so funny that I'm also like, where did you hear that I'm good at plotting?
From Katie Burnett.
I don't know. New York Times bestseller author.
And just like critiquing with you at this writer's retreat. Like it's obvious you think about the whole story and like, you are able to look at a scene and be like, well, if you changed it just to this, then it would work for this, this, and that. But you want to be wary of this because then you're going to run into this problem. Like you're thinking about the whole view and not just like, well, this chapter was fun.
It's very holistic.
I'm a pantser too, guys. Like I don't plot. So like,
Hey, cheers. Cheers.
But would it be true to say that you became so savvy with plotting through the years of going to workshop and hearing all these reads? Because like you said, you went every single week and basically got your unofficial MFA. So is it just hearing read after read after read and hearing what works, what doesn't work?
yeah, I think so. And then just like reading other books in general. But I think I also learned like you have to start with the query letter and like the premise, and it has to be like good enough first. Katie and I like once talk a class about like start with premise first because we both start with the query first, and then I'm like, oh, and we get excited. So I know you're like,
We're gonna talk later. We're gonna talk later.
okay, sorry for being
Character-driven girlies were like, premise,
Yeah.
you say?
Change.
yeah.
Okay.
But I'm a pantser who in Ailey Martinez's Words of Wisdom, I always choose the more interesting thing, and so I don't hook myself to an outline or anything like that because my aha moments come later. Like I'm a headlight writer, so I plan like 3 or 4 chapters, but then like on the road ahead, if I get something bigger and better, I go, and so I can swerve. That I taught myself through workshop because I would write a chapter, read a chapter, edit a chapter, write a chapter, read a chapter, edit a chapter, and I would keep molding it based on what people were saying to me and my own thoughts and critique partners. Versus if you do plot, sometimes you're just like, I can't change what I've already spent hours and hours on. And I'm like, well, I haven't done that, so I'm fine.
Also, when you're going back and you plot and then you write that whole book and then you try to read it, that I think this is the first time, this one I'm writing now is the first time I have I always pants. I pants real hard. But this is the first time I've gone like drafty crazy because the last 2, it was you go to workshop, write the chapter, you edit the chapter. So I would get these finished betas at the end and I'd be like, this is actually pretty freaking solid. And you'd be like, oh, and it's not because I didn't edit, but it's because I edited so heavily in the early, and you still might have some connective tissue problems, or you might still have some things that have to get scrubbed up. But there is like this idea that
So that's how being a pantser is helpful, is because then you're adaptable from one chapter to the next based on kind of what people said. You're like, oh, okay, well then I will do that for the next one. Let's go. Okay, I'm getting it. I'm getting it.
That beautiful aha moment, that's like my favorite thing about writing. And like if I've plotted it out, it's less likely that I have to think and then have an aha moment.
do you think you're also a devourer of like of other books, of other media? Do you think that helps as well? Because I think that like people who consume a lot of entertainment that is around, like they see the points very clearly.
I'm a diverse devourer. So I watch anime. I watch K-dramas. I watch C-dramas. I watch television. I watch movies. I love animation. I read webtoons and web comics. So there's different cultures in there too. And different storytelling and different like what is popular in different areas. And so it's not always just US centered either, or like American centered. But like in reading, I'm such a slow reader because I trained myself to study instead of for like gobble, gobble, gobble for pleasure. So I'm like really slow. So you guys talked about like 150 books a year, and I was like, I read like 25 a year. I'm so slow. I also have to like blurb a few books now a year. So sometimes that's like 2. I've already done like 3 this year though. So, and that's like books are coming out in 2027, 2028. And I'm just like, they're great, but it's hard because like you're on deadlines for those too. So it's like homework in a way, even though they are great.
Assigned reading is never as fun. Even if
Right.
it's great, even if it's good, it's
Yeah.
harder to like force yourself to do it. Because
And I'll transition to this. So I then had to move away because of my husband
Yes,
being a
yes.
doctor. And I went to so many critique groups. I've been to like dozens trying to find the same, like
The magic.
the magic. And so many of them are like, submit your like 15 to 20 pages ahead of time and your assigned homework. There's no reading aloud, because they're like, oh, reading aloud, so it's homework. And you're like, okay, so I'm back in college reading 5 people's work every 2 weeks, and it's so hard. So I started a group in Miami. It then fell apart. That's a very tragic, sad story. Um, and then I started another one at Books and Books, which I worked at, which is an indie bookstore in Miami. Lovely store. And I was like, I'm doing it my way, which was the DFW workshop way. And it went from 5 people and then went like 3 years later, 40 people strong.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And but it was hard because like it was all these people are like, what's querying? And you're just like, okay.
Yeah, you had to be like,
I had to train them up.
Yeah.
And which
Mama Dragon.
it's it was hard though. It's really, really hard. And then I just left them and it's heartbreaking again. And then I'm trying to like find a group in Austin and it's really hard. It's so hard to like find a good community. There's a lot of groups that like come together and like be quiet and write, which is great for motivation and like community of like friendship of like we're doing this thing together. If you become really good friends, you can ask each other stuff. And a lot of people do ask me like what agents and, because, I know the industry a little bit. But the like critique of like trusting this person, especially like I have to trust people if like this will be published in like a year or two.
yeah.
And so there's times where it's like, if you like steal this or leak this, like not that you could get it over me because like it is on the timeline already, but like it's just kind of weird. It's like some people would be very happy to read a Dana Swift. That sounds. I need to be more humble. That sounds really.
I would be very happy to read a data. They would be. No, but it's different than when there's a lot of people, I'd say the majority at our workshop, who are not published. So it's a different ball game when it's like I am on a deadline and this is going to the press. So please be real with it. Okay, speaking of your books that we do have to read, we're segue queens today. Segue queens.
I'm lining you up.
So you have been very public about the fact that your first book release was affected by the pandemic. And that was obviously really hard. I mean, I can only imagine like we all have this dream of having our debut and then for that to be your debut experience. Ugh. Okay, so you had to pivot and change the way you marketed. Tell us about that experience. Like, what did you learn? Now that you have another book coming out in June, like, how do you reflect back on that experience? Like, just walk us through that. Because I feel like that is kind of every debut author's worst nightmare is like,
Yeah.
I finally got the dream, but it's being.
Right. And there's like Leslie, who came out in May of 2020, which was like, she had a different kind of like everyone had it rough, but in different ways. So she had it rough because like some of the stores still weren't open and like that browsability was huge. Mine was more, they haven't even started marketing. We haven't even finished full edits. So many other books were struggling that were coming out that they were like, oh, we've paid big money for some of these titles. So like you were mid-list, now you're like bottom of the barrel, kind of like I pleaded for a marketing plan and they're like, you think we have time for you? And I'm just like, yes, I'm not worthy anyway. So like, but it was just really hard. Like but they had it hard too. Like these are people in New York, like seeing sirens coming down or like maybe they're not even in New York. Like they can't even go to their office anymore. Like it was such a hard time for everybody that you can't be like, hey, what about me and my little book? Like,
a little bit.
I was like, but yeah, and that's even harder.
Yeah. Just like, you had been working for this for so long. And I think that it's it's relatable to be like,
Yeah.
because it's one thing, listen, toxic positivity,
Yeah.
like, I'm all about making lemonade out of your lemons, but I think that, like, I think it's just fair and honest to be like, "No, I was like, of course I was disappointed that things didn't go the way that I wanted them. Of course, I wanted my freaking books that never made it out of, the like, I knew,
Yeah. Yeah.
like my
So,
arcs, right? Because didn't your arcs
yes.
get stuck somewhere?"
Yes. So my arcs were printed like the week of COVID, like in March of 2020. And I was like, but, and they printed them. So if anyone doesn't know what advanced reader copy is, it's like, it's right before your final like copy edit or proofread. So, and it's meant to be shipped out to influencers and librarians and booksellers and all these people who might buy it at a consumer level or on to have it on your shelf level. And so they printed these and then they got stuck in China, and that email that was like, "And we're not getting them, you're not getting them, but they're out there,
They
probably
fixed.
being destroyed." Like, I don't know. And they finally, months later, made it internationally. So a
Oh,
few
so some people out of
some
the
people in,
country
like,
got
the
them
UAE and in Europe had them, and I would enter giveaways
for your
for
own.
my own arc, being like,
Oh,
if no one wants it, can I please have this? I will pay you." And then I
wow.
finally, someone in the UAE had it, and I said, "I have the final copy. If I give you a signed final copy, can I ship it to you and you ship the arc to me?" And we traded from someone from the UAE. And
I mean, that's kind of
she's
cool.
That is kind of baller.
she
A
is
very
like my
unique
favorite
experience.
person because, like, so I'm like months after the book came out, I'm like opening the arc and crying. And people are like, "But the book's already out." I'm like, "I know. This is sad for me though."
So around that time, like you have a good social media presence. So did you already have one, or did that force you to be like, okay, I got to take marketing into my own hands
Right.
because
Yes. So after the marketing meeting, I was like, "Well, can you make me a graphic or two?" And they were like, "No, like, no." And my editor was a great editor, but she would ghost me. Like 6 months, no word of anything. I didn't know when my pub date, like, there was so much where I'm like, "Can I at least know when it's being published? Can I at least know it?" And this happens sometimes where the editors are just inundated
Yeah.
or they're just bad at communication, you know? She has then since left publishing, and I have no idea. She emailed me one Friday morn and said and was like, "I got your book 2 5 months ago, haven't read a word. I'm leaving publishing forever. Goodbye." And so I've been orphaned. I've had the ARC thing. I've had marking be like, "Goodbye."
you've
I've
survived
been
a lot, girl.
Oh, yeah. I also, in February of 2020, went to New York, and she stood me up. So I sat in the Penguin Random House lobby for 3 hours crying and then had to leave to LA.
Welcome to publishing,
Welcome
my
to
friend.
publishing.
I
Isn't
don't
it great?
I don't think I'm as strong as
Are
you. I
we
think
so
I would have been
happy?
like, this is my sign to give up and quit. And thank goodness you didn't.
But I think it's also just this thing of like, this is just proves that like writing and like having it in your like it's just like something you have to do because a sane person would have probably quit a long time ago.
Right.
But then it's just like, nope, there is a story there and you believe in that story and you believe and the power of sharing it with people. And I think that that's so I love that the way that you use your social media to share to people. I want to know if why you think it's important now post pandemic to show up online still. Do you think that like has learning that paid off now and with this new book coming out?
Yeah. So I learned how to make my own graphic, which nowadays it's like authors are kind of expected to do that anyway. So it's, like Canva and things have really come up where it's like, "Oh, go make your own little thing."
But was it like that 6 years ago in
I don't think
2020?
so. Like there were like an animated cover was always like, "Oh, if it's like a fun, like beautiful video, it would be like the publisher definitely made that." And I would sometimes message other debuts being like, "Did you make that?" And she's like, "No, of course not. I just got handed it." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, okay, okay." So it's not me being bad. It's just I don't have the marketing dollars that you and your team are obviously putting into your book.
Right.
So, but then you would also see, be like, "Did you make that?" And they're like, "Yeah, of course. Use this site." And like, now it's like everyone just kind of uses Canva and other things. But now with AI, it's kind of scary how many people can kind of do their marketing with AI. And it's like, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
That's bad too.
Swinging the other way.
Yeah, it's swinging the other way where it's like now like too accessible of like, oh, I could make my own anything. And you're like, but should you? No, don't steal someone's art. So, but showing up online, I don't feel like I do. Like, that's the thing. Like, because there's a spectrum, and there's authors that make 10 videos a day, and there's authors that are like, what's Instagram? So there's such a spectrum. And truthfully, like, your agent and your editor will normally tell you, like, yeah, you should at least make them and like post and please. And they're hoping that you're going to be this kind of like poster a day, get viral, but at the same time, a video I make that's like about my book that went viral will never capture the same as a reader being like, I love this book and goes viral. So you just have to sometimes hope. And some of that is the publisher sending it to the right people. Or if there's an opportunity, I got very, very good at saying like anything that would come upon me, I would say yes. Like, oh, you want to do a podcast? Yes. You want to do an interview? Yes. Like, if it just took time, and because it was also taking their time and they're willing to do something. Like, I had someone be like, hey, I make candles. I'm like, okay, I want to make candles of my books. Like, let's go, let's partner. And so I would do cool stuff. I would collab with stuff. But now, what's so upsetting to me now is that like I get emails every day that are like, we saw your book, it sounds so good, or I've read it and it's about this. And it's an AI email.
Yeah, of course.
And it used to be DMs that are like, hey, for $20, I'll read your book and you'll get it on Goodreads, Amazon, and all that. And you're like, yeah, I don't want to pay for reviews. So like, it's an obviously no, delete, whatever. Now it's these emails being like, oh, it's going to be in my book club. Will you, And I'm like, oh, it's fake. Oh, it's fake. Yeah, it's fake. But every once in a while, I fear, like, what if one's real?
Right.
And my yes energy is now a delete and didn't look at it energy. And I hate that, but that's just the world we live in now.
So be accessible, but be wary.
Yeah, like I've always kept my DMs open because people tag me in things and I repost and I love that. I love it. Yeah. And someone wants to say they like my book, I like message everyone back. Like I was at BookCon one week and I was like, hey, if you can't find me or can't come to my signing, like DM me and I'll meet you in the hallway. And someone did, and we met in the hallway and she had read my books in the past and it was just great. So as much as I'm trying to make my books accessible, I also try to make myself accessible. Yeah. But there is a caveat now of like keeping yourself safe too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I want you to tell us a little bit about the new book.
Okay.
So, When Dealing with Dragons, June
Yes.
30th.
Yes.
I thought we haven't said it before.
Yes.
What was that date again? June 30th?
June 30th. Almost July 1st.
So tell us a little bit about it.
Yes. Okay. So, oh gosh, the pitch. This is what's the hardest part when like you haven't practiced. Like this was one of the first books that like just my agent saw it and then she pitched it to publishers and I didn't have to like practice on agents in person. And that you get good at that. You get really good about like
this is the Gong Show, Dana.
I know. Okay. So it's a book about dragons, obviously. But these dragons don't breathe fire. They have like a metal coat. And that metal coat then has become where there's crafters or basically anybody in the world can like then manipulate that scale. So it's become a commodity. So there's a lot of animal rights stuff. And my main character named Farron, she wants to be a dragon veterinarian and she lives on a dragon sanctuary. And her big goal is just like protect dragons. And she hates this one particular boy who's a dragon rider, who's like the richest boy in town. And when he comes to intern on the dragon sanctuary, she's like, I have secrets that he can't learn about. This is horrible. And it's dual point of view. So then you get to his point of view in like 2 chapters later and you realize that he's like obsessed in love with her and has a huge crush. So he falls first and harder. She's taller than him. She's demisexual, so we get some rep for that. Like, and it's really cute and heartwarming. And like the simple X meets X kind of pitch is all creatures great and small. Do you guys know that show or the movie? Yeah. Yes. So it's that heartfelt, like veterinarians just try and do their best meets. So it's like James Harriet meets, like How to Train Your Dragon and like other kind of like fundamental dragon kind of action packed stories.
So YA romantasy, right?
Yes, YA romantasy, because like the heart of the story of like them like working together on the Dragon Sanctuary, the romance is pretty 50%, and then the dragon stuff is also pretty 50% because there's the whole magic system and there's a lot of classism stuff too in there that's like kind of sneakily through in some deeper themes. So yeah, and it's also for younger YA.
Okay.
Like I, as a bookseller, kept seeing like, gosh, YA is getting like 18 up, like, which I love. I was like, this is perfect for me. But I would have 12, 13, 14-year-olds come in being like, oh, I don't know.
My mom won't let me read that. Like,
Yeah.
give me
Or parents being like,
Side note, I famously had a friend FaceTime me one day and she was like, Lauren, oh my God. She was like, her son listens to audiobooks and he was going through cancer treatment.
And how old was he?
He is Felix's age. So he was 8. He was 8 at the time.
Gosh.
And so she was like, Lauren, George comes to me and he's asking about like what this is happening. He's talking about all these things that are happening in his book. And she's like, what are you listening to? Fourth Wing.
oh my goodness.
8 years old.
Oh my
I was
goodness.
scandalized as a 25-year-old.
What are you reading?
Wow.
That is a good segue for one reviewer put in the dragon like age categories. It's like Wings of Fire, which is a good like middle grade. It's still intense, but it's like middle grade. It's shelved in middle grade. Then When Dealing with Dragons, then like Fireborn, which is like a really famous like dragon book that kind of blew up during Fourth Wing, then Fourth Wing. So like in the progression, I'm that second slot, and I've had a few people be like, no books are that second slot anymore. No one's right after middle grade because it jumps. It jumps from like 12 is fine to whoa.
Yeah. Whoa.
Whoa. So I'm this nice middle ground, and I did it purposefully.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's like very heartfelt. There's only kissing and things like that. But there's also like there's really high stakes, like really, really intense stakes. So it's not like boring. I don't know.
You would never do boring. And I can't wait to read it because the cover and the title are just they're giving everything.
It's so springy and summery and gorgeous.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm so excited. Well, tell us what's next for you, and then we're gonna get into
Rapid fire.
rapid. Oh, I missed it. Yours is better.
No reduce. That's staying in.
Oh, womp womp.
Rapid fire. Yes.
So yeah, what's coming up?
Yeah,
next?
so I got a 2-book deal with Macmillan, and I wrote When Dealing Dragons to be a standalone because I was like, I want a standalone because Cast and Bound, there was supposed to be a book 3, and that was another heartache of COVID. They were just like, sales aren't there, bye. And so I'm like, okay, I'll just restart my entire career. That's fine.
It's fine.
Fine, it's
Everything's fine.
Everything's okay. Fine. So because of that, I was like, I want to write a standalone too. And like a lot of kids, it's like, oh, how many books are in the series? Like it's so overwhelming for them.
Dude, and their parents too. I'm like, I'm sorry, the bad guys, you want me to buy 45 books for my kids? And I do. I'm a sucker. But yeah,
You're like my mom. Like, whatever you want, kid. It's a book. Go.
Yeah.
books are an almost an immediate. I sometimes, yes,
We'll
but okay.
But libraries are there too, of course. So I wanted a standalone, and then my editor's like on the call was like, we'd really like a sequel, and I'm like, that's not in the cards. Like I don't have it planned because a sequel would be like taking the romance HEA happily ever after and like breaking them up, or like we'd have to have the conflict, and it's like where's the I don't want to drive conflict into this couple that I made happy.
Yeah.
They're happy dating.
They're happy. So I really waffled and was like, nope, I'll give you another standalone eventually in a year, and then the UK offered, and they said only with the stipulation of a sequel or a companion novel. And I went, okay, well, I'll do the companion novel then, which is what I'm done. And this was a very interesting process because my editor was like, I was like, okay, I'm thinking this. And they're like, oh, he's known her for a while. It's like, nope, that was the first book. Make it different. So it was like, okay, maybe it's summer again. No, we don't want summer. Make it winter. And I'm like, it was very like she wasn't, she kind of directed me and I was like, sure. Cause like I don't have a plot yet anyway. So we molded it together, which was really, really great. And then I gave her the first like 150 pages and I was like, here's what the end's going to be. And she's like, no, don't do that. And I was like, okay, new climax for me. And this is where the flexibility of being a pantser, where I'm like, well, that was all nebulous, cloudy mist anyway. So I wasn't like adhered to something. So like for me, I was like, oh, okay, that's going to be hard. But at the same time, I can do it. Like, and that flexibility is something that I think when you are working with another person so closely, you kind of need. But yeah, when that next book will be coming out summer of 2027. So about a year.
A book a year? Yeah, June and then September.
Well, when they're like linked, you
you
don't want
them
to be like,
both.
oh, in 2 years time.
Yes, because nothing drives me more. Stranger Things didn't give a rip about that last season. They
Well,
said you waited
TV.
too long.
They didn't care about you none.
TV is different, but
Not for me. I'm like, you
no,
gotta
I
do
meant
lickety split.
like it just takes so much longer for
I
TV
know.
to get rolling because
TV
they have to
and
write it
movies,
and
I'm
you
just
know.
like, I lost interest. I lost it. And really quick,
I
what's
actually
like
just saw the Stranger Things Broadway prequel on.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it was scary. I was like, Stranger Things didn't scare me that bad, but it was like there's jump scares. It was like
Oh, I
we can take
see
all this part
that in
out,
real
but
life being what's the best place for people to like keep up with these updates so we know when the book's coming out?
yes. So that's another thing about like back in my day, like Twitter was a thing and you grow your right. So like I'm not on Twitter, like ew, gross.
No.
So there's a lot of things where you
saying
like
it for years.
again, you have to be flexible and like kind of go with so I jumped to Instagram much later but I really do like Instagram so much better.
Okay, and your handle on there is
At Dana Swift Books.
That's right. That's where we can find her.
what are we gonna do now?
We got some rapid fire questions for you. So it doesn't have to be like quite one word, but we do just go boom, boom, boom. And we can start with you.
Okay.
We'll go in a little line.
I'll read the question first. Okay, and then we'll go this way.
Yeah.
Okay, rapid fire question. Question number 1. What is your favorite story with dragons that is not your own?
Well, yeah, I would never pick my own. How to Train Your Dragons probably, but yeah, sorry. But like I've watched a lot of media that has dragons, so Dragonheart when I was like little is, but that's the thing that dragons are always. It was either they're really scary, or like even in How to Train Your Dragon, like they're kind of scary at first. So I wanted them in my book to be more animalistic, and like showcase how humans are awful to animals at times. So like that, so I couldn't have them, as much as I love Warfring where they get to talk and have personalities, like I couldn't make them too sentient and like, because then it humanizes them too much. So I wanted them to still be animals that we love, like dogs and horses and things like that. But I'm talking way too much. Anyway, How to Train Your Dragon is the answer.
That was also my
Yeah, I'm
answer.
sorry.
And I've been debating between two in my head, and I'll go with the sillier one because, that's me. And I've got to say the dragon in Shrek, it starts off scary, then she becomes really useful, and she has a romance with the donkey. And like, you just don't see that everywhere. Like, that's just kind of one of a kind. And you can give a real answer.
Yeah. I am so basic. I'm full Game of Thrones galley. I want my dragons full of rage and anger, and I want them to be justice filled. And there's truly nothing hotter than Daenerys. Dracarys. It's the sexiest thing you've ever seen. It's
You've never seen Game of Thrones?
No.
and she just burns just the dumbest people, and you're like, yes, get them.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love it. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
The second one
All right. Yep. So we're on a trip right now, but where else do you want to travel to this year?
Yeah, so I'm actually going to one of my good friends from my Miami writing group. So it's like you make very good friends with the people who you work with and books because we're all working toward our dream. She's getting married in Dublin, Ireland, and I decided to go, and I will probably like hop over to London and maybe try to meet my UK editor. So that'll be so fun. Like I'll try to do UK editor, and then we hop over to Dublin. And it's actually she's getting married 2 days, like 3 days before my book comes out. So it's like
Aw.
right before. And then I come back and I'm going to be traveling on my book tour as well. So those like 3 weeks are going to be wild.
Yeah, that is sweet of you to make time for that.
Where are you going?
So
wanna go.
friend and I are playing around with a trip to go to Arizona because I've never been, and I just want to experience some little like deserty summer vibes. There are a couple of vintage shops there that we really, really want to go to. She has like a business partner who lives in the area, so she's like, "Let's go stay with them." And she was showing me some products that recently came out in her business that have a very deserty vibe. So I was like, "Let's go take pictures in the desert." And then I'll just go vibe and I'll shop and drink swig with all of the girlies. And even though I hate the heat, I want to experience the desert vibes. That's where I want to go next.
Are you going to do Grand Canyon?
That's not on the agenda.
Yeah, it's probably in like a totally different area.
Yes. But like we're thinking like Scottsdale, Phoenix,
Oh, yeah,
Gilbert
yeah.
kind of area.
Ew.
That's hot.
Yeah. No, I want to take the big kid. I want to take Rocco to visit Leslie. So I'm hoping that sometime this summer that will work out. And then
Definitely.
the boys want to go to the beach. So I think we'll try to fit that in.
Beach where?
I don't know. Wherever flights look good.
Good call.
Yeah.
Go to the,
Yeah.
I mean, Washington in the summer sounds lovely. I have done that before. Lovely.
See, so I'm not hating at that. Okay. Look, we jumped to this anyways. Okay. In 2 sentences, describe, or 1 sentence, however, 2 or less sentences.
It can be one sentence with a semicolon.
Describe your summer vibe.
So for me, my summers were always traveling because my parents divorced when I was young and my dad moved to Germany. So I was always shipped off to Europe. So, which was everyone's like, you're shipped off to Europe. That's the dream. But like, that's why it was like hard to make friends when I was a kid because like I didn't have all those like summer vibe moments. But summer to me is always like traveling and like seeing people and yeah. So that's what I'm so excited to see like readers on book tour. So this summer will be very much like travel again.
Embodying those vibes. Angry at the heat, so spending lots of time inside. Like I know summertime for a lot of people is like, let's go outside. I'm like, let's stay inside because it's hot in Texas, and let's read and let's play mahjong and let's play video games and let's go shopping and.
I'm gonna keep up this accent when I talk.
Okay, perfect. I mean, that was all. Let's just go shopping, estate sales, maybe pickleball in the morning if it's not too hot. But you know, it's too hot.
I'm also going to be angry because I hate being hot more than literally anything else on the planet.
True.
So what I'm going to do, here we go.
Here we go.
Pool days, easy dinners, simple. I always lose all ability to read anything that is brain stimulating. So Kindle Unlimited Smut entirely is where I go. And very little clothing. Small things.
Was.
I don't want it to touch my body.
That's right.
I don't want to. I have to play pickleball for 3 more weeks in my league, and I'm dreading it.
Sunscreen, honey.
The
Sunscreen.
the sweaty crotch is the worst. Well, on that note,
For real though, thank you so much, Dana, for being on our podcast. We're so excited for you. And when dealing with dragons, June 30th. This June 30th when this releases will only be a few days. So
Oh
Yeah, I mean, you
yeah.
could-
I'll probably be in Europe.
yeah, you
yes.
could pre-order it right this second or get your copy on June 30th and follow Dana Swift Books for
Yeah.
book tour news.
And if you want a signed copy with the pre-order campaign, order from Book People in Austin, Texas, or Books and Books in Miami, Florida.
Perfect.
okay. And on that final note,
Happy writing.
Thank you so much for listening to Witches of Workshop. Be sure to find us every Wednesday on your favorite podcast platform.
And remember, if you want to be featured on Witches of Workshop, please send 1 to 10 pages and a synopsis to witchesofworkshop@gmail.com.
Until then, happy writing.